More people coming. Hi, Henry.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hi, Adam. I'm good.
Good,
So I
good.
will be standing by as always to help
Super.
participants here.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll just give people a bit of extra
Yes,
time.
I think we can wait for another 4 minutes before we can
Yeah,
start. Yeah,
that's good.
sure.
So has everyone got some coffee? Cup of tea? This is actually just herbal tea, so I have to try and keep the energy up another way today. That's
So I will also remind the participants now on Slack channel.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. How's everyone been? Feeling well? Words?
Good.
Good. Okay. Oh, cool. Sound is working. Awesome. Brian's good.
Caffeinated.
Caffeinated. Okay, that's good as well. A bit crazy from Juan. Yeah.
Melbourne weather change got once again the better part of me.
Yeah. Too right. Crazy. It's freezing. So, yeah. How's everyone else doing? Robin, how are you doing?
Unmute. I'm dealing with school holidays. Two young kids
Yeah.
at home, so yeah.
Okay.
Balance,
How old are your little ones?
6 and 13. Well,
Oh, yeah.
actually 13 on Friday, so
Oh, congratulations. That's a lot of work. Yeah.
hectic. Camping, trying to keep them busy and get work done at the same time, but
That's so
enjoy it,
hard.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We got a 4-year-old and a nearly 2-year-old. And so we don't have school holidays yet, but we did a long weekend camping and it was great but intense. So,
Yeah.
but very cool. Super, super cool. Um, all right. So, give me a moment. Let's bring this up. Okay, I think we can probably get going. So, we are now at week 4. Crazy. Henry, you've recorded, yeah?
Yes, all good. I have recorded the session.
Great. Super. Thank you. Okay, cool. So we are at week 4. I'm just going to shut this door so I don't super annoy my wife who's from work in the other room. We're at week 4 and we're wrapped. This is our, we got this session plus 2 more. So it's crazy how fast this has gone. First of all, how are you actually feeling about this whole process and what we're going through and the competition? So just a couple of words, stick them in the chat. Joanne's already finished a bit crazy. Danielle's feeling low in the sea because of the weather. But how about this? What about the competition right now, or kind of where you're at with your ideas and your business? Yeah, cool. Overwhelmed with knowledge. I'm just feeling fantastic. There's a method to the madness. That's good. What other things? I guess great, inspiring, nice one, better. I think I'm feeling. Hmm. I'd say more focus on the application judging process itself. And yeah, interesting. I'm feeling a bit tired, to be honest. Feeling a bit tired. Not tired as in like tired of doing it, just tired and a bit tired in general. But see the finish line, which is kind of nice, right? We're kind of like, we're over the top. But actually now, I always like this bit. It's like you're in the finish line for me. Yeah. That's true. But well, there's never a finish line, right? It just gets moved. But it's kind of just like that kind of shooting part. Like, okay, how do we really make these next parts really tick, really sing, so that we can actually get so we can all get what we really need out of it, which is exciting. And anyway, I actually love doing these things, so it's awesome to be here with you guys. So thank you. All right, cool. So let's dive in a bit on what we're getting done today. MVP, value prop, application specifics. Then just under an hour, we've got Lakshmi Pun joining us from the Illumine Foundation. And yeah, she's amazing. I don't know if any of you know Lakshmi already. She used to work for Melbourne Accelerator Program. She's been a founder a few times. Currently does some awesome work, and she was a winner of the. She was one of the winners of last year, I believe, in the.
So Adam, we can't hear your voice.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
yeah,
we go.
now it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, we can't hear you now, Adam.
Somebody want to lip read and interpret for him?
I can't even see him, so I can't do that if that's you want me to do.
I can see him,
No.
but I can't hear his voice.
I see a cord coming off of his headset, so it's not his wireless headset battery died. Oh, wait. Technology.
All right. Cool. We're gonna kill all Bluetooth. How about that?
Okay,
Very
Right.
good.
Yeah.
very good now.
Just
All
blink,
right.
blink twice very quickly if you're in danger.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I missed it. Oh, too bad. Too late. Yeah. All right, awesome. Sorry about that, guys. So here we go. All right, brilliant. And so then we'll get into application specifics after that as well. All right, cool. So before we kick off, great. What makes an MVP? So what one word describes an MVP? And this should show up as a poll, but it doesn't seem to be doing it. So we're going to go back. Hold on. Wow, this is tech issues is not working today. Give me 1 second. All right, cool. It's not working. So we're going to do what makes an MVP analog style. Can you please stick it into the chat? What makes an MVP in your mind? What makes an MVP? First of all, what is an MVP?
Minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product. Yeah, great. Minimum viable product. Okay, so what's the first thing? So something that's sellable. Yeah, cool. Tangibility, you can use it. A cost-efficient way to get your core product working. Yeah, great. An illusion. Yes, yeah. Shows potential for development. Yeah, something usable. Most valuable proposition. Yeah, most valuable player. Learning. Don't look behind the curtain. Okay, Wizard of Oz. Yeah, great. So minimum viable product. Innovation. Yeah, but probably not. It's not about what you can innovate on. Minimum viable product is what is your target customer? What's the smallest version of something that your target customer can experience for the thing they want the most out of it in the very tiniest form? So the MVP is about breaking down the core kernel of what your target customer wants. And by doing that, you can create something very small and cheap, and ideally, David said, that you can sell to them. They part with some money on it. Now, sometimes it's time. Okay, it's all right, but money is the key bit. Are they willing to pay even a small amount of money for the first version of what you're creating. So this is how not to build a minimum viable product, which is this is a classic one. You've probably seen this a few times before. The minimum viable product of a car is not a wheel, because no one can use a wheel. This is also not how to build a minimum viable product, but I'll come to this in a second. There's a caveat on this one. Is a skateboard an MVP of a car? Not really. Not really. But we'll come to that in a second. Not really, because it's not, you can't say a skateboard is like a car. Yes, it's got 4 wheels and 2 axles and a platform, but it's not really an MVP of a car. It's because actually we're asking the wrong question. So what is it when you want a car? What do you actually want? You don't necessarily want the car. You want it for a number of different reasons. But one reason is I want to be in an enclosed space that's protected from the weather, traveling from A to B. So a minimum viable product of a car could be a shell of a car with only the front in it, with someone pushing behind and the customer sits inside it. It's pretty bad. It's not a great product, but it is a minimum viable product. And you can probably get that done for $100. $200, $100 for the car, and $100 to pay someone to push it along for half an hour. All right. There's an MVP. Is someone willing to pay for that? Probably not. But the MVP builds from this very early version. Imagine this has never been done before. People would be interested in that. Then it gets better. You don't have the person pushing. Then you add a back on it. Okay, cool. Now you can get 4 people in there. And then you refine it to create this version here. So what's kind of cool here is that actually the MVP can be created in a few different ways. And that's why the skateboard or the kind of scooter version could become an MVP for you. If your customer is looking for an outcome that is not just the product. What I mean by that is, for example, a restaurant business, what is the restaurant in the business of? It's not in the business of building walls and creating seats and making tables. Restaurant is in the business of giving someone delicious or cheap or fast or whatever adjective you want to choose food. So that actually could work. So, first of all, you just give them the smallest version. So my most amazing taqueria, because I love tacos so much, it looks like this, but actually I'm just going to give them one little taco from a stall outside the front of my house. And that starts it. For software, if we want to achieve a goal with something, so for example, an automated calendar function, then it's got to at least do some calendar matching and searching or booking system. Might not be very pretty, might not work that well, but at least it does it. And so it's got to have some broader form of it. And so here we talk about the enclosed vehicle. You want to be inside the enclosed vehicle like a car. Okay, cool. You need to have something that represents that final product. And the reason we're talking about this is you are at the stage where you're applying for this competition for City of Melbourne to go and pitch. You're not pitching for the end state right now. You can talk about the end state, your North Star of where you want to go, but you need to be able to say to them, and this is how we're going to get there. And this is the first instance of that, which is the MVP. The minimum viable experience is sort of what you're in some ways building now, because you don't necessarily have a product. Some don't have a product, but you're building a system around it so you can show this on, hey, this is what it would be like for an end user in that very first instance. And so an MVP, an MVE in terms of minimal viable experience is interesting because as you put it, I think Danny put it in the chat, there's the Wizard of Oz version, and there's a kind of illusion. Yes, you can do these kind of things that sit around it to give someone the experience of having the thing that you want to give them without actually having to give them that thing. Okay. So the kind of action work for last week was so anyway, any questions, sorry, on MVP before we move forward? Any questions on this? Yes.
One question. When it comes to MVP, how do we decide on like, for example, you give the example of a car, it is easy, but if you're addressing a need for multiple things, like for example, need for safety, there are multiple things that are there. So how do we zero in on what should be the minimum viable product? What should minimum viable product covers? Yeah.
You have to focus, and this comes back to what we did in the first 2 sessions, is what is the specific problem you're solving? So the specific problem you're solving is safety is in a car. Your MVP could be you give everyone a cushion or a pillow when they go into the car. That's their airbag. The full version is an airbag that automatically inflates when you're there. So it's kind of, so it's about to answer your question, it's about getting super specific on the problem you're solving, because you cannot solve all those problems. So what's that? And then let's think about this strategically about this competition. What is a problem that the city of Melbourne and the judges who are made up of the mentors and people around in this ecosystem, what is the thing that they care about? What is that one specific problem that they care about to get you through to the next stage? Okay, good question, really good question. Anything else? All right, let's zoom ahead. All right, cool, customer text and reflection. So I know a bunch of you done some great customer interviews already, or partner interviews. What did you guys find? What do you hear about in terms of competitors from others in the market that are doing similar things to you? What problems do you did you not expect to hear about? But mostly, what surprised you? And how did it change your thinking on your MVP? So, open floor, please share. So, what is anyone who's done any interview, please share it, or any kind of discussion with someone.
My experience was when I looked, my mentors always says do the desktop research, and I found that people are already doing AI. The idea is that, oh, I was thinking about securing the helmets, and I found that Neon is doing it. So it is, I find that whenever I come up with things that I want to do, if I look them up, it's easy to find what others have done in similar space.
Okay, that's a great realization. Yeah, really good. Thanks, Hamza. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think mine was similar. It's kind of after doing computer analysis, we saw that there were various kind of companies doing what we were thinking about doing, but then it's kind of like about why the traction's not there, why the awareness isn't there, and why the adoption's not there. So then it's almost shifting that kind of customer insights to go, all right, well, maybe the problem isn't necessarily in kind of it being available, but it's more like an adoption. So what is the barriers then? So that's kind of where we're kind of angled as well.
That's brilliant, Caleb. That's excellent, because that is an amazing insight that would be hard to find without talking to those people. And that, when you put in, so here's why for the 14 of us, 16 of us are on this call, putting that in your application, saying, from my customer interviews, or our customer interviews, we've already found out that the problem isn't this, the problem is actually adoption. And that's why, that's why this City of Melbourne competition is so important for us, blah, blah, blah. Like you're identifying that specific problem. Same with you, Hamza, with the helmet thing. It's like, well, actually, it's not about this, it's about that. This is just gold for someone who is trying to review an application, because you read so many applications of like, I got this fantastic idea and it solves all these massive macro problems. And you're like, cool, but like, what about X, Y, Z, and all the others that do the same thing? Whereas if you say, yeah, well, they all do that, that's cool, but it's adoption that's the problem, and this is how we solve it. Perfect. Super nice. Thank you, Caleb. Anyone else? Okay.
I
Yeah,
hadn't. I spoke to a colleague at RMIT about an idea running a sustainability program for institutions and organizations, and having it like personalized and flow into the workplace, because people work from home. And the person I spoke to was actually, she's a friend. She said that there's now legislation to regulate what they call, I think it's like Scope 3 emissions. So those emissions are like emissions like traveling to work, things that are kind of unseen. And just blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, this is gonna like totally change the landscape. So had my mind blown.
Great. Super amazing. So what that is that giving you more information around the context of your solution, your problem. So now this is amazing for that number one on the well, it depends on where it sits. It could be urban areas, or it could be reduced emissions, or it could be the retrofitting things. It's like, well, we are dealing with a problem that's coming through in legislation in Scope 3 in my solution. And so people are pitching us at work for like, hey, we'll deal with your Scope 3 emissions because it's a major issue. And from a context, this is what we do in my other day job at Zenversa. So Scope 3 is super tough. And so if you're putting forward a proposal that says, or a solution that says, hey, Scope 3 in this specific area, like working from home, whatever it might be, is difficult to understand, we just solve it with this simple way. Really useful. Very, very good. And it's nice and specific, and people get it. Really good. Awesome. Thank you, Danny. All right, cool. If you got any other things on that, please stick them forward. But thank you. Really amazing work. Okay, value prop canvas. This is probably well, I always say this actually every time I give a presentation, like this is the most important canvas. So here is the most important canvas. This one probably is one of the hardest, but also one of the best ones to have just at the center of your whole proposition. We talk through basically a customer's experience of problems and gains and pains, and then we talk through the solution you have and how you address them. All right, cool. So without too much diving in, we're going to dive into this in a kind of breakout session in a minute. Here's what it is. So the idea here is you use this value proposition canvas to identify your MVP features, right? So you use it to say, what of the features I need to create that will actually solve the pains that people have. Now, think back to last time with jobs to be done. Jobs to be done are over here on the right-hand side, and that's where you start, customer jobs. So what are the jobs to be done in that problem? Milkshake, filling full up, having it in one hand, driving to work. So we then start with your customer jobs. This is the core of the whole business, this one little triangle segment here. Then go to pains. Now I'll give you a sheet in a minute which shows you which ones to go to first. Pains. So customer jobs, what do they need to achieve? What do they want to achieve in their life associated with this problem they have? Pains, what are the things that they really dislike about it? What are the things they just hate that makes them feel horrible? And you think of all the adjectives that make someone feel bad. That's what you want that to be. And what are the gains they want? Think of all the adjectives that make people feel excited and hopeful and happy about the future. Those are the things they want. And these things could be, I've got more money, or I've got more, social status, or I've got a better environmental footprint, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Then what you do is you zip over to here, which is your products and services. So then you kind of list through, okay, these are the products and services I want to provide them. Not an exhaustive list, but what are those two or three key things that solve those customer jobs? So the milkshake would be, okay, it's a thick, viscous, tasty liquid that is pretty addictive because it's got so much sugar in it, but you can market it as healthy, and it's in a container you can hold in one hand. That is the part of that product that you're getting when you get the milkshake, like Clayton Christensen talked about. The pain relievers next. Pain relievers, it gets rid of my hunger so I don't feel grumpy in the morning. So that's a good pain reliever. Gain creator, it tastes really super tasty. And, I can talk to my colleagues who also love the rainbow flavor milkshake, whatever it might be. So this is a brilliant part of where you want to be in your business. I'll come back to that in a second because it actually fits in your lean canvas. Now we'll come to this a little bit later. I'm sure a bunch of you probably used lean canvas before, or at least business model canvas. These two things fit in here. They fit in customer segments and they fit in unique value propositions. And that's the driver of the business. Okay, so this is why we're doing it now. So here's an example from Toyota. So what you do is you put up in the top right-hand side your user profile, your user persona that we did in session 1 or in the session 1 homework, which is, okay, this one is a middle-class male who's got 50 to 75K income in the US. This is this person. So what are the jobs to be done that he wants from this example? Well, he wants to commute to family activities with the kids in the back. He's got to have 2 lots of seats. He wants to convey an image of a happy family. He wants to get around himself. He wants to kind of fit in, be the same as his friends. He doesn't want to stand out too much. And he doesn't have to travel too far. Okay, cool. So the pains that he experiences as a middle-class male with probably a family, a couple of kids, is he's scared that something's going to happen with the car. He's worried about reliability. He wants it to be able to charge really frequently. He's worried about it, getting in an accident, people being hurt. He's worried about, prices dropping and moving around. But the gains are, he wants to have something with a good brand that he can trust. He wants to perform like a big family car. He wants to be able to drive it. I think this is from one of the early plug-in electrics, actually. Range of 150 to 250 kilometers, high safety ratings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So these are things, the jobs to be done, what he wants out of the product. The pains are the things he's worried about right now. The gains are things he's really excited about. And then you zip over here to your products. Cool. So this early stage Toyota electric car, great. You can put it in the Mirai. Oh, this is the hydrogen one, the Mirai, the Verso, the ProAce. It can do the job properly. It's got different models that you can choose from. It can be manual, it can be automatic, you can customize it. So these are all the things that Toyota's offering that fit this guy's job to be done. Oh, I want to be able to choose it, but I don't want to have to do too much. Okay, great. Pain relievers, got 5 seats, can fit the kids in. Toyota safety sense, so it's got all the safety stuff with it. Probably there's also, you know, free warranty for a number of period of time or whatever. And then Game Creators, it's got these awesome things like adaptive cruise control. It's a hybrid. It's got, you know, other things that fit within it. Okay, makes me feel good. Are the jobs to be done and the pains and gains he experiences on the right fit to the product and service that Toyota's offering on the left? Yes. So what you want to do is you want to align these things together, because the customer here drives what you're producing in your product. Okay. Here's a real example of this that I did 6 weeks ago with another client, a customer of us who's got a very large, huge university with amazing energy opportunities, and they've got incredible battery processes, and they were trying to figure out how they can help sell their processes in batteries to an EV fleet operator. And so we just went through. I won't go through because you can see this all in the slide deck, but basically customer jobs aren't, I want a really shiny battery. The customer jobs are keep costs down, minimize the fleet that's out of action because batteries are dead, ensure the best performance of the batteries, make sure reputation is good, and ensure the batteries are safe. Nowhere in there does it say, I want a sulfur battery that does X, Y, Z, or whatever it might be. Okay, so this is really what we need to do. Now, we're going to jump into an activity on this in a minute, but what I'm asking you to do is think about it very high level in terms of don't try and overthink it too much and put everything down. The more important thing is to get something in each of these boxes than it is to have one box fully populated. So think about like this, like a maths exam. Better if you can't get it, move to the next one. Can't get it, move to the next one and come back to it later. Okay, so don't want to lean canvas right now. Business model canvas. So I'm just showing you the evolution of where this fits. Fits within a lean canvas, also fits within the business model canvas. This is kind of like what you're going to when you've got a product and market and you're getting out there in the world with something tangible. Okay, cool. So in groups of 2, we're going to split into groups. We're going to do 7 minutes each. So 7 minutes per person, we'll call it. Henry's going to ping some posts, ping some messages in there. Don't overthink it. So if you can pull up, I've already sent in the email. I can stick it in Slack in a second, the participant canvases, but if you can check your email, you've got participant canvases there. To 7 minutes, throw 2 post-it notes into each of these things. No more than 2. Don't worry about any more. Okay, chat, questions. Okay, thank you, Danny. All right, cool. Let's jump out into groups of 2, and then Henry and I will try and whiz around as fast as possible through them. Okay, cool. Any quick questions on value proposition canvas? Okay, cool. Silence is consensus. Let's go through to this one. All right, cool. 15 minutes on the clock. We'll do 7 minutes each one. Thank you, Henry.
Okay, everyone. I'm sending you to your own group. So 2 people in one group. Thank you. Hi, Mariam. Hi, Mariam. Would you mind to join room number 2?
Hey, Henry, could you put me into another room? I was in there kind of by myself, so I just did some other stuff.
Sorry, Adam. Okay, so I move you to group number 3, yeah, and then you can just move around.
Great. Awesome. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, now you can click join. Yeah.
Oh, it came back to another one. Is that? Oh, yeah. Oh, we got another person.
What?
Okay.
why did
Was it supposed to be 14 minutes or?
wasn't it two people at a time? But why am I in this room?
No, I think this is the main room. People haven't joined back.
Yeah, this is
Ah,
the main room because we have 7 minutes, right? And we have finished 7 minutes. So we return to our room.
okay. And then the
Yeah.
next participant will go.
Yeah, then we will have the panel session together as before here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we've been zoomed back out, but we're going to zoom back into those meetings now. Was that the first timer, Henry?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open back up again. Was that 7 minutes?
Yeah, seven minutes.
Okay, cool. Can you open back up again? 2 in a room, please.
Okay, I can open all rooms again. Okay. So for
Okay.
how long this time?
Let's do it for 8 minutes, please.
Okay, 8 more minutes. Yeah. Okay. Great. David and Caleb, yeah, and Emily, you can also join to your group. Yeah. Hello, Emily. Are you there?
But I can't.
You can just yeah, just click join in room number 9. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
It's simple.
Just click join. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Okay. Let's brilliant. Well done, everyone. Chris, if you're happy, you can pull that up. We'll run through it really quickly. I'm gonna set a time. We'll do it in 3 minutes. Hold on, I'm just gonna mute. Could everyone mute who is not speaking? Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, if you're happy to share screen, and then we'll do it in 3 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer. Whip us through that really fast. Just an example. All right, cool.
I'll just start this end here. So we've got customers who need it. Our job is what we're looking at is appliance based. So how can we improve energy efficiency within the appliance space for homes? So customer jobs are customers obviously wanting to buy an appliance that improves their life. So whether that be a TV to a microwave to a heating and cooling system, whatever it is, they want quick access to information. So they don't want to spend days wondering which thing is the best to buy. They want to have a way of evaluating quickly. And they're wanting options that help them to best optimize within their given budget. So they want to optimize within, they want something cheap, but cheap within the space of what they're looking to get. So if it's, 3-star versus 7-star, all the rest of it. In terms of pains, they're worried about cost of living. I think that's a perennial issue. They're worried about climate heating. So there's anxiety about that in the media all the time. And rightly so. Warranties and performance, they want to know that whatever they buy is going to be protected for a long time and it's going to work and not break down. And they also want to know that there's not ongoing expenses with this appliance. You wouldn't buy a fridge if it broke down every 2 weeks. So they want to know that their investment is safe and secure and that it's addressing climate change, but also keeping within their budget, not too expensive. That's how I'd summarize that. Gains are that they obviously want social status, which is what you picked out as well. People kind of gloat about things like, EV charges and all the rest of it as well. So they want to be able to gloat about how good this thing is that they've bought to their friends and neighbors. They want a good selection that's dependable and a good price as well, and they want this thing to last and not be expensive. In terms of pain relievers, we want some way of showcasing the benefit that they can make to climate change, so a calculation for that. They want a solution that saves money, not only upfront, but also over the longer term as well. They want information to be quick and easy to understand. They don't want to spend days. Just give us the best calculations, the best answers, and show us how this can help. And they want an evaluation and a comparison tool. Through this, gain creators as ways that can show money savings. We wanted to personalize it to them individually to help make those savings more realistic in their eyes and to help customize it. And they want quick access to information. At the end of that, we've got an app that makes costs and carbon emissions quick and easy to understand to help them select appliances.
Brilliant. Well done. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, super. That was a very fast run through, well timed indeed. So what was really cool about that, it was really specific. It wasn't overblown. It was really kind of simple. The only thing I'd probably change, we talked about this briefly, but Chris didn't have time to change it, was on the pains, focus on the emotions that person experiences. What do they really focus as a problem and a pain that they're experiencing, and then that pain reliever takes away. So think about a headache. I've got a headache. I feel like crap. I can't concentrate. I feel nasty. My head pounds. I hate it. I take a 2 paracetamol. Literally, that's the pain reliever. Within half an hour, my headache has gone away. I take 2 little tablets. I'm feeling much better. I feel calmer. I feel like, is that they're the kind of verbs and words and adjectives you want to put in there. It's about how that customer feels. Really nice. Very good. Great. I'm just going to ping Lakshmi the link here. So give me 1 second. So she's definitely got it. And then we're going to go into the application. Right, so share the screen. Well done, Chris. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate you jumping in front of everyone to do that. It's really cool. All right, and that's not it. That's for Bator. Nice work, Bator, as well on that. All right, cool. Okay, application specifics. Right. Can you please give me a show of hands? Who has looked at the application specifics already? A few. One, Brian, David. Who else? Robin. Okay, cool. All right. It's run. Great. So this is what it looks like. You go in here. The links are in here. Participate Melbourne. Here, you'll just dive into it. So anyway, it's pretty easy. You can go and find it. And David, did you have a question? Or I think your hand might still be up from the automatic auto. Yeah, cool. Sweet. Right. Okay. We're going to go through this in the next 10 minutes. Then we'll have Lakshmi I encourage you to think about some questions that you'd like to ask her about the application, about what she did for it. And that's what we'll talk about. Okay, cool. First thing, why on earth are you here doing this training and all us together? These canvases, everything we're working through here is all about what you get out of doing that canvas. It's not the canvas itself. It's about, this is giving me a sharp pinpoint on a problem, a sharp pinpoint on a solution, and why that solution is important and the problems it solves. Okay, so that's why we're doing the canvases. So use these canvases to show the person who's reading it your problem, solution, and value proposition to solving that problem. Okay, so use the canvases to show the outcome. Use the background data, and this is taking the background data on the website to show that you're making it relevant to City of Melbourne. A global solution that's not tailored to City of Melbourne will not cut it. So make sure you're focusing it really on Melbourne. Even if that is not your target end user audience, that's okay. In fact, it's not a problem at all. You're in this because you want to get through, pitch, get some funding, take it to the next level. Super. So show it's relevant to Melbourne. At least use some of this data. The reason is someone at Melbourne who will be part of probably this judging panel has gone in and made that list of data. They want to see that their work is not for nothing. Okay, use the evidence from your customer interviews. So put in what you've learned from them and anything surprising. So here's even better. Victoria's data says this, but actually in the customer interviews I've done, this is the real problem, not what you stated already, or a version of, okay? Be really specific in your answers. It's really easy to try and rush one of these things because I've done it a bunch of times with different things. You rush it at the end and be kind of general, and then it doesn't actually answer the question they want to know. Okay, so be really specific, and I'll get to this in a second after Lakshmi's finished. Small and real is better than large and imaginary. Okay, so a small, real thing that you're proposing in this, my long-term North Star vision is this, but actually right now, all I want to do is write this thing here. This can have an impact for the City of Melbourne because of X, Y, and Z. That's much better than I'm going to change electric mobility for the whole of Australia. Okay, so something really specific and tangible. And here's really important. Uploading the pitch deck and a video is great. There's supplementary information at the bottom, but it is supplementary to the written application. I've heard this directly from people managing it. If you just say, see pitch deck, see pitch deck, see pitch deck for all those sections, immediately it will be kicked out. It won't even get through. Yeah.
So
cool.
Adam, David, yeah.
Hey, David.
So Adam, are you saying that the add-ons, the uploads are only 10-20% of the job? So if
I would say they're a nice to have.
Nice to have. Okay, cool. More questions coming.
Yeah.
Use evidence from customer interviews, mentor conversations. Still struggling to get my hands on those mentors this year. And also I'm wondering, since the customer is the City of Melbourne as well, when will we somehow get our hands on people from the City of Melbourne? And when do we find out who is actually going to be on the judging panel, so we can actually cater for that as well?
Great questions. In terms of the getting mentors for any problems I've had, or anything that people have messaged me about problems with that, I've messaged City of Melbourne to try and get them to rectify this. If there's a specific person you're trying to get hold of that hasn't worked, please let me know and I'll follow it up. In terms of who the judging panel is, I don't know who the judging panel is of specifics. I know that they're from the partner organizations that we saw in the launch event, but I don't know who the individuals are, I'm afraid. So I'm not sure if we can find out, but I can ask the question. So that's a fine question to ask. Know who your examiners are. That's the first thing. So yeah, David, I'll follow up on that. Can you please just ping me in Slack those specific questions so I don't forget, and I'll follow it up.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
One question I have, Adam, is that the data set that is shared, it has nothing related to safety. So there is no safety data on micromobility. That is what I'm targeting. So what to do in that situation?
Well, this is the challenge of the entrepreneur. There may not be any data. You have to go find it.
So that is fine. I collected the data from my interviews and also looked up. So I have that data, but it's not like using their data. So I can't use their data. That's
okay. If it's not, I mean, you could probably link it to, if yours is on micromobility, you can just link it to the piece of data that says, Melbourne has a target for X on micromobility, whatever that might be. I don't know the answer. If it's targeted to that, you could use that as a context setter. And you say, but interesting, I found outside of the data set Melbourne provided, there's also this, and this that we need to do. Yeah.
Because there is a study by Guardian, for example, how Royal Melbourne Hospital is struggling with injuries.
Perfect. I mean, not great that happens, but great that you've got the data. Yeah, wonderful. That's perfect, Hamza. Wonderful. Any other quick questions on this bit? Okay, we have 3 minutes before Matt Lakshmi is going to be here, so let's go through this. So this is the judging criteria: innovation, impact, technically and conceptually sound, feasibility, and scalability. Okay, so here I've linked here the kinds of things we've done that help you in this. A lot of this says lean canvas. Don't worry about that. We're going to be covering that after Lakshmi's gone, but also going through into next week. So innovation, use the unique value proposition that you're creating in the middle. How is what you're providing unique compared to others? How does it build on or add value to existing solutions? So don't say everything that you've got right now is rubbish. Just build on it. Be positive, all right? Because if you cut people, the last thing you want to say is turn up to someone and say, all the work you've done for the last 10 years is absolute rubbish. I've got the solution. You're going to be kicked out straight away because no human wants to hear that. Okay, second one, impact. Lean canvas coming up. Okay, I've got a special lean canvas you might have seen already that can help you do that. Technically, conceptually sound. So use the data, use other data you found, like you said, Hamza, user customer interviews. So is it sound? Does it work? Yes. Okay, prove the technicality, but is it conceptually sound in terms of people actually want it? Do they actually want that product? Feasibility, again, using your metrics and customer segments. So you can do the customer personas that you've already done and your opportunity maps. That will show you kind of where it sits. The metrics that you'll produce in your lean canvas will also help with that. And then finally, scalability. Now, this is a bit tricky to implement, scale your solution. This is much more kind of like, you got to think about this as your future state. This is where you would go and this is what you would do. And then that's how you kind of think about that one. But you don't have to produce like a scalability roadmap at this point in time. It's just the idea, hey, if I can do this on one building, there are 400 buildings in Melbourne, so therefore we can hit this by 2030, whatever it might be. Okay. Last one here. This one is the final cash prize. So if you got it, what would you use it on? Do a budget. So put something here up to 10 grand. What would you spend that 10 grand on? A flight to Barbados and cocktails. Okay. Maybe it's not that, but whatever it might be to put you forward. Okay, cool. David, and then I'll let Lakshmi in.
But those 10 grants are not for a proof of concept. The proof of concept will be a paid engagement with the city beyond the 10 grand.
Is that a question?
That is a question, yes.
I do not know the answer. That would be a question for the City of Melbourne.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know the answer. They've got $30,000 of prizes. And then they have these other prizes, which are things like you see in the application, getting into map, velocity, going into all these other accelerators. Anything else? I mean, don't work for the City of Melbourne, so I don't know. I think anything else you'd have to ask them specifically on what a POC pricing would look like.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't be more of help on that. Okay, cool. So give me a moment. I'm just going to Epic launch party. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so Juan, the judgment panel was announced after the finalists were announced in June last year. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So give me 1 sec. I'm just going to check and make sure that Lakshmi is waiting. So you guys, I'll put some elevator music on. Just have a chat about amongst yourselves and we'll go from here.
Is it just me, or is there any music playing in the background?
No, the music
No,
is not
I
playing.
actually didn't have time to put elevator music on, guys. So just give me a second. That was kind of more of a joke. So if someone wants to sing, that would be awesome as well.
Well, I'm happy to sing Backstreet Boys music song if you guys like. I sang it yesterday.
You should totally do that. That's awesome.
Let me find the lyrics.
Hey, Adam, I just want to clarify something. They're not looking for us to actually include these canvases in our presentation, right?
No, they're not.
These are just for us to develop the idea and then, yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. This is for us in the background to just know kind of what what kind of the outcomes is to sharpen up your approach, basically.
Something you said earlier, it's kind of, no, not including these.
Yeah. No, that's right. No, you don't have to include. These are all kind of like they're just the tools.
Another thing I noticed with it's just a comment, Adam, that I find these canvases useful because I just realized with this canvas I didn't do the persona, and that is the first thing you do after you identify the stakeholders.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The persona is important. I know, like. Just give me one sec. Maybe, Henry, what are your reflections on, from your consulting work in the past and how you've done this? What are your reflections on getting an MVP from an idea in your mind into something on paper where you get a grant, it's funded, or because you've done a lot of this?
Yeah, so thank you, Adam, for the question. So actually what I did was also doing what have you suggested them to do, like using a canvas. So actually I use that I try to understand first what the client really needs from me. And then also in my case, sometimes I read the documents available online. So then I know the state of the market and also the clients. And then when you write a proposal, a grant proposal, for example, or a project proposal, then you can address their needs as well as you top up. You provide something additional more than what they need, so then they could see more value in what you try to offer to the market. So that's how I approach it in my consulting work.
I actually have a
question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my question is that the problem I am right now facing is like these are just two of the books I have. And then there is this lean product playbook. There are so many of these books around, and then there is something like toolbox, and it is like kind of overwhelming. So like as a consultant, since you do that, how do you approach it? Do you follow a particular book, ideology?
No, actually, I don't follow a particular ideology. So I mean, what I usually do is I don't really follow a certain model, but I try to synthesize from what I read. So you pick and choose some elements from each book or model or whatever it is that you think could help to leverage your idea. And all these elements should be complement with one another. So for example, from that book, you see that book is talking about how you understand the market from their perspective. Then you can pick and choose some elements to understand the market from that book. And then you read another book. For example, the other book talks about how you approach how you strengthen or you frame your issues for your market. So then you merge those two aspects from those two books. So the first one is about understanding of the market. Then you pick and choose the second element about how to frame the issue from the other book. So that's usually what I did before. So I tried to pick and choose, because if you follow one particular model, the disadvantage is that model might not be always relevant and suitable to what the client needs. So you always need to synthesize the information that you have in front of you. And also the second thing is that always try to put your feet into your clients or the market shoes. So you need to really understand what do they really want from your project or from your intervention. Yeah, so it's not about you, but it's about the client. So that's how I always position myself. Yeah.
Perfect. Very good. Exactly. It's all about them. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Henry. Thanks, guys. Great questions. Okay, Lakshmi, thank you. We had it was technical issues on the back end for Disco and things like that. So Lakshmi, thank you so much for joining us. Lakshmi, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Can you see me?
Yeah, it's frozen at my end a little bit on the camera. I'm not sure.
Sorry, I've been having
there we
issues
are.
with my computer, so hopefully
No worries. Hi, Lakshmi. First of all, thank you for joining us. Here's our this is we're in the middle of this thing. It's 6 weeks long. This is session 4. So the people you see on this call right now are the diehard ones who are in the trenches, really building great businesses. And so you've been building great businesses for quite a long time and in the trenches and doing lots of different things. And so I'm not going to spend too much time on a bio here, but look, we've known each other for, I don't know, 8 years. Something like that, 7 years, maybe something like that, on and off between University of Melbourne and different things. But Lakshmi is fantastic, has done lots of work in the startup scene, both in institutions, in kind of government, in VC, as well as in the university, as well as running and founding her own businesses. And so I won't dive into that too much. Your LinkedIn profile is there. Lakshmi, thank you very much for being here. Can you give us your headline bio, like just, the 3 sentences that you really tell people when you want to get a glimpse of who Lakshmi is?
Yeah, thanks so much, Adam. It's great to be here. So a quick sort of pitch about myself would be, I call myself entrepreneurship evangelist. What that really means is that I really want to see a lot of ideas come out and how we actually support the ecosystem, but also help you all unlock funding and support that is required as founders. So I see myself playing a role, whether that is connecting with talent, whether that is connecting with investors. And so sort of playing that connector role is where I see myself. And as Adam mentioned, I've got a couple of gigs that I do on the site, apart from supporting startups. So yeah, it's great to be here. And I was also one of the winners of last year's Open Innovation Competition. So I think I'm really happy to share about that experience and some of the learnings I've had throughout the journey. And I see some people that I know as well here. So it's great to see you all. Hey, David. Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Lakshmi. So let's start there. What's been your involvement with the OIC last year? And can you give us, because we don't have much time, what are the top tips that you've had for your application and how to get it through and win?
Sure. Yes. So in terms of Open Innovation Competition, I've been involved with that for a couple of years when I was running the MAP program as one of the sponsors as well. So I've always been really sort of interested in supporting the city of Melbourne. But last year, when the option of, it was really around supporting international students around employability, and the foundation I run, even though it's not just for international students, it's for students and professionals of all types who are interested to get into startups or kickstart their career, which can be difficult for a lot of migrants. So I was already working on that for a couple of years, and then when the opportunity of Open Innovation Competition came, I applied for it. Of course, some of the things that I had to do a bit differently in terms of putting in the application was really understanding the target audience and the competition itself. So what was the competition, or what are the people judging panel wanting to see as well? So a lot of that focused around the things that I had done, or the bigger vision as well. So sometimes if you are very early, not everyone would have like a year or two into their business already, but if you're really early as well, I think just that showing the vision of where you want to take it to was really sort of important as I put the application. I did, it's never enough. I think my camera might be frozen. So yeah, there you go. And it's never enough to sort of, know your business really well. So by going through the application process and really liaising with our coach, who was Phil, or I guess he's still the coach here. So really sort of going with him really helped me crystallize the idea as well as I was putting through the application. So that not only helped me in how I pitched in front of the audience, but also it helped me really know the business again from a very different angle as well. So it was really helpful, I would say. And then the third thing is, even though I've been on the other side, which is I've heard a lot of pitches from, from founders, being actually on the founder's shoes and pitching in front of the audience was a bit different experience, a little nerve-wracking as well. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to practicing. You practice so much that you almost feel very comfortable going on stage. And so those were some of the things that I did during my preparation.
Great, Lakshmi. And so thank you for sharing that. And when you were putting together your application, even just to get through to the pitch training, what were the key bits and what key feedback did you get from putting your application in, just the written application online? How did you approach that?
Yeah, so in terms of the written application online, I'm just trying to recall, I don't have a lot of recollection around what I did, but yes, so I think they have a format where you can actually see the application beforehand or so. So what I did was I actually put it, I put all my thoughts in there, tried to crystallize it. And then I did have a chat with a couple of the people or close friends of mine that I know to have a look at the application and to review it as well. So that really gave a very different perspective as well. So I do encourage that as well. So that was on the written side of the application and not leaving it to the last minute, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So here's a top tip for these things is don't write them. So know the character limit. We'll talk about this in a minute, but write them in a different document and get feedback before you submit them on the actual one online.
Yeah, and make sure that you have somewhere to check for like grammatical errors or spelling errors or something like that. And usually I just use like Google Doc or something like that just to make sure that, it's coming clear, because one of the things that the people on the other side really hate is, you've not framed your sentences properly. It's really around like articulating. Sometimes it just feels really weird. Like, as a business owner, you kind of think like, yeah, I'm sort of putting myself out there, but sometimes you really have to be good in sort of articulating that as well, which doesn't come naturally to everybody. So I would say just giving it a go like a couple of times, I think will be quite helpful.
And then we'll go to David in just one second. But Lakshmi, when you've done this and you've seen this so much from both sides, when you're looking at Lean Canvas, Value Proposition Canvas, all the different canvases, and you're turning it into like a written application like this, what's the key thing to do you think, to make your application as useful and as winning as possible?
Yeah,
from the canvas into something else.
That's a very, very good question. So I know we've got all of these framework, but at the end of the framework, what it really boils down to is like who is your customer, or who are your users, and what is the value that they are going to get out of it, and why your product, right? So a lot of the people actually talk about product features, my app can do this, and so on, but actually taking a break from that, but applying from like, what does that feature actually enable your customers or your users to do? So really coming down from the concept of, this is what my users will get the benefit out of using my product or service. That whole framing needs to go towards the user side rather than about your business, because it's really not about your business. I mean, even though, everything you're doing is for your business, but at the end of the day, it's really solving someone's problem. So if you frame your sentences or your pitch from the angle of, this is how we are able to solve problem for someone, and this is why they like our product or love our product, that's a better winning pitch than sort of saying whole heaps of things that you want to talk about your business. If given chance for founders, they would love to talk about the business, but it's really connecting the audience to the level of why should I care? At the end of the day, is why should I care for your product or your service?
Yeah, perfect. And Henry was talking to that as well as he came on. Amazing, brilliant. Let's go to some questions. David, what's your question, please?
Yeah, a quick one. How important is it that I nail the 1400 characters? Are 1200 well enough if I'm done speaking, or do I have to invent words to make it 1400?
No, I think this is where we all sort of like try to maximize the space because we feel like, oh, we might have missed it. I think it comes from our very that examination mentality, like when you are in school, like you just want to make sure that you've written everything, but it's really not that. It's about being able to articulate and communicate what you want to say, and if that comes under 1,200 words or so, that is fine. Like you don't have to really maximize the space. In fact, one thing that I would tell everybody is that focus on the key things that you want to share, because if you try to keep too many things, it distracts the reader. So then you're not even getting the points you want to get across because it's been distracted with all the other things that you want to share as well. So just focus on the things that are quite important. And another thing is, I've just come out of writing a grant application as well. Another thing is like really understanding what the question is trying to ask, rather than what you want to put out and what you want to share. So it's like, okay, they've asked me this question, what are they trying to test me over here for, right? Is it how am I doing it? And try and make it not very general sort of statements if you can. So sometimes the answers can be quite general or generic, using your, I don't know, ChatGPT or whatever, but actually they want to hear your story, hear about your business, which is only specific to you. So making sure that, your application has points like that. So it doesn't matter even if it is a lesser, words, but definitely don't try to go over words because you'll be penalized for that.
And a wonderful point. It absolutely, everyone says to me, it's such an annoying phrase, but so true, is less is more. It's actually true. But the point is, if you can fill it with stuff that makes absolute sense and is really important, fantastic. But it's writing a grant proposal. If you don't catch them in the first sentence of each of those segments, you're going to lose the reader because they're also reading like 50, 100 of these things. You've got to capture them in that first sentence super fast. We'll cover that in a minute. Thank you. Super. Thank you, Lakshmi. Jing, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I think Lakshmi mentioned that it's important to get people to review our application after we've drafted it up. I'm just curious, who will be suitable people from our friend group or network that will be, I guess, helpful from Lakshmi's perspective?
Yeah, so I think mainly would be people that you think have a very different perspective than yours, and they might have a very different skill set. So you might be someone who thinks very broadly about things, a big vision, big picture thinker, and you might have someone who actually looks at the detail of things. So you want to get feedback from them. So I do say that getting feedback is not only from people that you really like and people who will say good things about it. You actually want people who can be critical, because you'd rather have someone who's critical about it now so you can make changes than sort of have someone who is just going to be nice to you and it doesn't really help. So I do encourage you to find in your network who has this kind of mindset, who is not afraid to share their truth insight, and of course someone who's got a bit of background in the startup itself might actually be a good idea as well. I mean, if you try and tell your mom and dad or someone, then they may not really be helpful. So that thing,
very good.
Wow, that's great perspectives. Okay, I need to think of friends that think differently to me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And think of friends who are and ask them to be critical in a constructive way. And if you're thinking big picture, find someone who really loves the product or products itself or doesn't think the same way. Absolutely, really good idea. We'll do one more question from Hamza.
So
Jing, sorry, do you have any more questions, Jing? Was that it?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Hamza.
So my question is that like the MVP that I'm thinking about is very small, just making people wear the helmet. And I know that there are multiple problems with safety in e-scooters. So in that situation, I personally feel like kind of ashamed that I'm solving a very small bit of problem. So what do you suggest? What's your thoughts on MVPs? Should it be like a very small bit, but how does it plays out on proposals?
So you mean the MVP as in minimum viable product?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I'm just like when it comes to e-scooters, for example, people are using them while drunk and they're running them on the footpath. So there are a huge number of problems with them, and I'm just trying to change their habit of wearing helmets. So it's I know a lot of these other problems, but I'm just focusing on a very small bit. So I'm a bit nervous about how does it look like, knowing that all these big issues are there as well, and I'm not solving any of them.
Yeah, I think one of the things, like I said, is to go back into like what is the value for the users, right? So even though you might feel like, oh, it's just a helmet after all, but as you yourself said, there are a lot of challenges around even wearing helmet, and some people actually not wearing, falling down and injuries and whatnot, right? So it's sort of like showing that it is actually a bigger problem. So you need to really take out of your mind that my product or my service is lesser than anyone else that are pitching in there, because if you are representing a business and a product, you really want to buy in that idea because unless you buy in your own idea, you can't get others buy in on that, right? So you want to be almost clear about why I am so passionate or why I am so in for this idea. And it may not be the idea that is something that you will pursue over the long term, because you might find other ideas that you want to solve as well. But having said so, for an audience like this, particularly in competition, you almost want to be like, I am really bought into this idea because this is where I see the problem. And the other thing is that what the job of anyone pitching is to actually give the audience information and insight that they wouldn't otherwise get. Right. So you're actually, a job of you is that you are educating a market, educating your audience about a product or the service. So it's not just about pitching, but it's really sort of storytelling, and it's educating them. So they may not know that it is it's a simple MVP or whatever that is, but at the end of the day, it's about how you pitch as well. So I would definitely encourage you all to actually not think like my idea is lesser than the other people's idea or so. It's just giving out there and sort of saying, look, this is how big of a issue this is from your perspective, and really pitching it to a point where you really believe in your vision. Yeah,
that's a great point. And it is it's very okay to say at the beginning of an application like this, there are many barriers to micromobility in the city. One of the key barriers is that we have not considered safety in this. And if City of Melbourne's to articulate and push forward micromobility for everybody, safety has to be paramount. And so it's like, it's just positioning it like that. A lot of this is positioning at this point. It's super, super early. They do not expect you to have solved everything. And seriously, if you turn up with what Lakshmi's talked about today, and maybe 10% of what we've talked about, you're going to be in a much better position than the vast majority of people who are just going to put in large idea things or not specifics. Okay, cool. Last quick one from
Adam, I'll just give you one example, right? So when we were pitching to City of Melbourne, before, like, we said we want to empower about 1 million students globally, right? So that was our lofty vision that we said, like, for the next 10 years, more than 1 million of talent, we want to put them into startups. Now, do you think we're going to get that now? No. We will if we proceed. But we started with that this is what.
Can you mute yourself, please? Sorry, it's a bit of noise in the background. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying, like, start with that lofty big vision as well. So we pitched saying that, yeah, our even though it looks like we were just solving problem for international students here in Melbourne, because this grant was focused in Melbourne, but our vision is actually to support students across the world to get into startups, and we want to do 1 million students by 2030 or whatever that figure was. So they're also sharing things like that is going to be quite helpful.
And so go back to your North Star canvas. It's all on there. Beautiful. Thank you, Lakshmi. Right, super quick, 1 minute we have, because I don't want to take too much more of Lakshmi's time. Ishwaran, do you have a question?
Yeah, my question is around the supplementary information. So, we have 1400 characters for 5 questions. All said and done, it's not a lot of words to put everything we're trying to express into words. But in the supplementary information, they're not really looking for a pitch, as I understand it. They're not looking for a PPT. They're looking for more attached, pictures or prototypes or wireframes or things like that. So is it beneficial to put a whole pitch deck in there?
In terms of the mechanics of the application itself, it might have changed from last year because I'm not really sure, like, what those questions are. I would say that anything that helps to get your story out better, that you should include in that, whether that is, if it has like attachment or something where you have the letter of support from your potential customers or users saying, like, if there was a product like this, we would definitely buy it. Of course, things like that are so much powerful than just a pitch deck. So definitely include things that you think will add value to what you're trying to share. So that would be my thoughts there.
It is, yeah, and that's right. Thank you, Lakshmi. It's definitely supplementary, so it's just a nice to have. But if you've got something that really supports the value proposition here, if you've done 25 customer interviews and this is the results you've got, and you say see results attached, just that's perfect. Okay, Lakshmi, we're gonna give you a big like this, which means clapping and a round of applause and thank you, Lakshmi. You've been absolutely amazing, and yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam, and thanks, everyone. All the best. It is actually really fascinating to be able to put your startup out there. So just don't be afraid or anything like that, because everyone's just starting out. So wish you all the best, and hopefully, you all get the award. And it's just starting. Like, even if you don't get the award, maybe there are other opportunities with other programs and other, platforms that you can pitch yourself to. So it's just the beginning. So all the best.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Thank you. You can feel free to exit side left if you'd like, stage left, but thank you, Lakshmi. Guys, we've got a few minutes. I'm just going to bring this up. We're going to actually do Lean Canvas next time because it's really important that we get that from Lakshmi. Thank you for your questions. It's really good. So the specifics on the application, this is we're talking about just briefly, and then we're going to wrap for today. This is 1,400 characters without spaces. That's what it is on each of those points that David had there. This seems like a super boring thing to think about, but it's absolutely the thing that trips you up at the last moment when you're in there and you've written a massive Word document and you go to stick it in and you've got half an hour before the application automatically closes. Yeah, David's smiling. Everyone's done it and it sucks. It's awful. It's just so stressful. So the best thing to do is write in something else, know how many characters you've got, check without spaces, double check it in the application, and then go back to it. So I did this. This is a AI written thing. Give me 1,400 characters without spaces on integration of electric vehicles into the grid. And this is what it gave me. If you read this, and here's the big, do not do this. Do not go to AI and ask it to do this thing because it will not give you what you need. This is one you got to write yourself because it'll spit something out like this with words like proliferation, which take lots and lots of letters. Additionally, don't probably need that. There's lots of things in here that make it sound very smart, but not very smart. So if you read this, it doesn't really say very much. It's kind of just like a bleh. Okay, cool. Not going to cut it. When I wrote my master's thesis, we had a very hard 4,000 word like limit on it. And my supervisor said, you've got to squeeze, he literally did, you got to squeeze meaning out of every sentence like Ernest Hemingway. I was like, now I get it. Okay, so every little sentence, and this comes back to David's point, if you can finish it at sentence 3 and not fill it up, a judge will be so happy. Remember, and I've been an academic for quite a while. When you're marking papers, you get to the last ones, you are tired, you're fed up, you're really trying to like self-check and balance so you can give them the proper mark. And then you flip them over and you mark them back to front the other way. So you know you're giving people fair marks. These judges are really busy. They're doing this voluntarily. So shorter the better. Be specific as you possibly can be. That's exactly what Lakshmi said just then as well. Okay, we're not doing Lean Canvas right now because we're going to have to do it next time, which is not enough time. Okay, cool. So any quick questions before we leave right now on anything? No? Reflections. We have 30 seconds. Chuck into the chat reflections, adjectives of how you feel right now. I feel now like this. How are you feeling? Chuck in the chat. Do the personas important? Yes, absolutely. So I'd prepare the proposal. Good. Any other adjectives? You can shout them out as well. You don't have to type them if you're that tired.
Excellent.
Excellent. You feel excellent. Great. Anyone else? Inspired? Cool. Who feels like overwhelmed? Better? Appreciative? Cool. All's rolling. Cool. It's going better. Okay. Super. All right. Jump into the online community on Slack. If you've got any questions, ask each other, ask us. We are there. There's time put aside to help. I've already had a chat with a couple of you guys. It's awesome. Keep going. And I'll rework next week. So we've got Lean Canvas and we'll jump in for that.
Just one quick question.
Sure.
So this Slack channel and everything will be available even after this competition, right? This is here to stay?
Yes. It'll be here to stay at least until the end of the competition. The winners are announced.
Okay.
But plan is to keep it open for longer because we're building this community. So yeah, thanks, Hamza. David.
Thank you.
The same will apply to the resources on the other platform that we're using?
Yeah, so for Disco, what I would suggest you do is go into the Disco on the resources section and download everything, because we will have to move and close this at the end of that platform at the end of the program, but that won't happen till later on. But by the time everything will be on the platform by the end of the 6 weeks. Download everything. And I'm gonna another last request is we're gonna send out a quick 4-question survey because we're in the middle. Please, can you spend 3 minutes responding to that 4-question survey? I'm gonna send out later today on Slack. It's really important for us. I'm basically gonna ask you what's going well, what's not going well, and a couple of out of 10, what do you think of this? Okay. Really appreciate if you could just spend a couple of minutes doing it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Make yourself a beautiful rest of the week. Big fingers. Well done. You guys are the hardcore. I love it. You're in it. Let's do it. Okay. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye everyone. So I'm going to close the Zoom room. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
See you next
Andrew.
week.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
see you next week.
Bye.